and show you now our product. So we are in a consumer's locker. I'm in my phone. This is me with my finger scrolling here. This is real. What we're seeing is the consumer dashboard of a user returning to their locker. I'm going to come back to this top section here in a moment, but this is an example. When we introduce a new feature, it'll be placed front and center for the user to have access to when they first come back in. Otherwise, if I was the user and I wanted to rearrange the order of the app, I can easily drag and drop and move stuff around. I'm not going to do that right here. But each consumer can create their own custom view of the dashboard based on these widgets. So I'll go back to the dashboard and just kind of navigate through. So I talked, and I know I'm flying through this and talking fast, but I talked about the consumer linking information in the app. So essentially a user in the product is able to link today to their credit, their personal credit, get their credit score, credit report, all the information behind that. I'm going to show you that. They can link to their financial accounts, both assets and liabilities. I'll show you that. And then coming soon, we'll be able to have a consumer link directly to their payroll. So essentially, in the locker experience, a user would be verified on 5 dimensions: identity, credit, assets, income, and employment. Always on, always connected. And when that consumer is consented, they'll be sharing some of that information with their lender to support the journey towards home ownership. And then at the end of that readiness journey, all of that information becomes part of a data set that we enable to be shared from the consumer's locker directly with the lender. It's in a MISMO compliant data set that can be used to pre-fill a mortgage application. We do have a standalone product for verifications. I'm not going to cover that today, other than to tell you that we do today offer verifications of income, employment, and assets as a standalone product separate from this consumer locker experience. The one place that those are connected is if a consumer uses those verification tools in the context of a mortgage application with one of our clients, we auto create a locker on the back end of it, which essentially creates this lifetime engagement for you as the lender to engage that consumer on that data that they used in the transaction. Not the purpose of today's demo, but just to throw that out there. If anybody wants more information, we'll definitely help you out with that. So I'll keep kind of navigating the app. I come down to this tile, this widget that has these tiles. These tiles each represent a linked financial account. So checking, savings, investment, 401k, IRA, credit cards, personal loans, charge cards, gas cards, mortgage loans, student loans, auto loans, even utility accounts. I have a utility here, electric and gas accounts. And so all of that data now that's from these linked accounts is available in the app. So when the consumer first links their account, we bring in 12 to 24 months of historical transactional data. And then every evening, the locker harvests all of the updated financial data from each of these accounts. So all the transactional data from these accounts is then brought into the app. That data then powers several other widgets in the app. This first one that you see here is the spending analysis widget, which breaks down all of the spending across all linked credit cards, checking accounts, et cetera, and categorizes, even subcategorizes those in this view. We also analyze cash flow, net worth, and then we have a budgets and goals widgets, which I'm going to come back to in a moment. I talked about the consumer linking to their credit. Once they do that, they're able to see their credit score. This credit score updates every 30 days, and then they can actually drill in and see all the detail behind the credit report. And I'll show you that as well in a moment. I'm just going to get through the first part of the dashboard here. This widget here that I'm in now that you see rotating on the screen is what we call the offers widget. This is where our client, typically a lender again, can create up to 10 unique messages or offers that would flow through here. This is a no-code piece of a no-code widget. So in our admin portal, our client can create up to 10 unique messages, including the image, the words on this tile, and the destination of the call to action. So if I were to click this view my accounts, which I'm not going to do right now, that's going to go back to the account section of the app. So if you have other partners that you work with, other products and services, this is where you can market to those users on those other products and services. We have a set of calculators, which I'm going to come back to. Home value. So for the user that owns a home, they're able to link that property. We bring in an AVM. It's brought in. It's updated every 30 days. The mortgage associated with the property, if there is one, can be linked as well. And in that case, which what you're seeing here, will show and display the estimated available equity. And what's cool about this is obviously the value is coming from this AVM, but the outstanding balance on the mortgage, which is driving the estimated equity, is not a stale value, and it's not a calculated value. It's actually coming directly from the linked mortgage in the locker. So if a payment was made on that mortgage yesterday, the balance and the available equity is now reflected today in almost real time for that consumer. We have embedded real estate search, which I'll show you in a moment. And then I want to get to a couple of the last pieces on the dashboard. So not only is the app branded to the lender or the enterprise, if you will, but also individual loan officers or others in the organization can have kind of a unique experience. So in this case, Ryan would be the loan officer associated with the consumer who has this app. And so when that consumer is engaged with the app, they're always connected to Ryan, and they can connect him. They could click this contact Ryan, which would open up their email client on their phone, and they could send Ryan an email. And if they wanted to schedule a meeting with Ryan, they'd click this schedule a meeting. Behind this schedule meeting is Ryan's Calendly, and they could quickly set a meeting with Ryan to do their annual mortgage or post-closing review. And that's a new feature that we deployed about 30 days ago, getting a lot of great feedback on that from our lender clients and the users alike. Finally, on the dashboard, at the very bottom is what we call the information center. You could call this the blog site, but we're able, when we deploy a client, an enterprise client that has their own kind of RSS feed or blog site, we can connect to that content, and that content is available now to all of their consumers inside the app. All right, so I'm going to now navigate to some of the deeper feature functionality, and I'll start with credit. So I'm going to go into the credit widget. Again, when we come in here, we're going to see the credit score. We're going to see some nice little affirmations of being a rising star. All the factors that make up the credit score are broken out here, pay history, utilization, et cetera. The trend on credit score, there's a quick link to education content around credit as well. I can go into the credit report and see all of the accounts that make up the credit report, drill into any one of these accounts, see the utilization, the balance, the credit limit, when it was opened, all the pay history, et cetera. And then a super cool feature that is also part of the new version of FinLocker is our credit simulator in mobile. And so from here, the user can take certain actions on their account, their credit account, and see what that would do to their credit score. So in this case, let's just see what would happen to this user if they were to pay down their credit card balances by $30,000. Click simulate score. It's going to come back and say that paying down the outstanding balances by $30,000 results in an increase of 87 points in this consumer score. We have another version of our credit engagement tool. It's called Credit Compass. Today it's in web only. It's a beta. That is the inverse of this utility. In Credit Compass, the user who's sitting at a 655 would plug in and say, what would it take for me to be a 742 score? And they'd hit simulate, and the web app would come back with a set of things that the user could do over the next 6, 12, 18 months to get from a 655 to a 742 as an example. So it's in beta right now on our web, and it's on our roadmap probably for some time early next year to bring it into the mobile experience. Ton of engagement on credit. I would tell you that from a marketing and pipeline building perspective for our clients. We get a lot of feedback that using calls to action and marketing messaging around credit score, credit monitoring, credit alerts is another unique way for lenders to engage consumers and get them into their funnel outside of the traditional specific mortgage type of marketing. So as I go through this, hopefully you're thinking about some of the different marketing strategies that your company or you as an individual could deploy using much of this feature functionality to kind of build and enhance your pipeline of prospective clients. Because again, I'll say there's others that are doing this very well out in the marketplace, namely the Truebill app that's now Rocket Money. I mean, that's the biggest lender in our industry, and it's a strategy for them to attract and retain clients. Why wouldn't you try to do the same thing? Let's go into the accounts widget. And again, we'll see these tiles that represent the linked accounts. And then underneath the tiles are all the transactional data for those accounts. Adding an account is super easy, super intuitive. You would pick the account that you're going to add. It's going to open up a sign-in window. I would log in with my credentials, hit next. In most cases, the financial institution would send a text to the user with a 5, 6, 7-digit MFA code. A modal window would pop up here, enter that code, and that account would now be linked in the locker, and you'd see it as a tile on here. So it's super easy to add accounts. Users can delete accounts, hide accounts, etc. From those accounts being linked, there's several other tools that are powered by that data. So budgets and goals, consumers can come in and create very specific spending budgets. Also set goals for things like saving for a new home or an emergency fund. I've got a few of those set up in here. We've also created a detailed budget that's automated. Once the user has set up their profile and completed their income, this detailed budget, which is running all the analysis right now, opens up and tells the consumer kind of where they are and their suggested spending in these major categories: home expenses, transportation, food and dining, etc. And then they can drill into any of these details and see all the line items. What's cool here is the budget itself is automated using the HUD-approved housing counseling budget format, but the user can override any one or more of these line items. And as expenses come in under these categories, they're tracked in real time. So I've covered a ton of ground. I want to pivot to readiness quickly. So knowing what you know now in terms of all the capabilities around the consumer's ability to link information in the app, once we have the consumer has completed their profile, linked their credit, and linked at least one asset account, they're able to access this readiness widget. And my app, the app that I'm using to mirror this on the screen, is a little slow, so give me a minute. Here we go. So once they've completed profile, credit, and asset, this readiness widget is rendered and available. And from here, the app is analyzing all the data in the consumer's locker against multiple dimensions. So credit, no bankruptcies, no foreclosures, no lates. Credit score is at least 640. I think it was the benchmark we put in this demo account. There's there's assets in the account that exceed the down payment required. This user's been employed for at least 2 years. And then you can see that some of the other factors that make up readiness in here. When a consumer reaches readiness, then they're kind of in the queue to be able to start the formal mortgage application process. FinLocker is not a point of sale. We're not a loan origination system. What we do, though, is allow the consumer to take their curated data, their direct source consumer permission data, and share that data with a lender to start a mortgage application. So in this case, I'm just going to show you quickly kind of what the consumer would do to share this information. So this is the lender is already defaulted here. They're going to go for a home loan. Clicking through. This would have already populated if this wasn't my demo account. Same with my SOCH. The income's coming from our profile. They could add a co-borrow if they want. We're not going to do that here. And so from here, the user is going to see kind of the information needed to start the mortgage application. So we have a checklist that kind of has your standard mortgage application checklist. This is where the user links their financial account. So I'm going to link this bank account here. That's where my assets are coming from. I can also link to my liability accounts. If I've stored documents along the way, like a tax return or a pay stub, I can link to those. And then from here, the user is going to consent to share this with their lender for purposes of a mortgage application. So they would consent and go ahead and make that share. On the other end of the share, what's happening is the lender, and specifically the loan officer in this case, is going to get an alert from FinLocker. So in this case, Ryan would get an alert from FinLocker that one of his clients has initiated a data share from the locker to start a mortgage application. Ryan would be prompted to come into the FinLocker admin portal, accept that share, and then can download that Fannie 3.4 MISMO compliant data set, as well as any of the documents that have been stored, including the asset report. So we take that linked bank account, create an agency eligible asset report. FinLocker is a Fannie Mae approved vendor for asset verification, so day one certainty. And that is all part of the payload that's shared with the lender at that point for a mortgage application. Quickly, I'm going to show you a couple other features. I talked about calculators. There's a set of embedded calculators. We have this home affordability calculator that is driving off of the data in the consumer's locker, and basically gets them to kind of lets them know what they're what they're qualified or what they can afford based on their income and the down payment they're going for. They can change the terms of the mortgage, and then once they get to this last screen, in this case, I think it's estimating the amount needed for closing costs and down payment of just over $50,000. From here, the user can create a goal, call it new home. So it's $50,000. Pick a date when they want to be ready. So let's just say next October. Pick the account that they're using to save for that money, and then how much of that account are they going to allocate towards this goal. And now a new goal has been created to save for this new home. And in real time, the user will be alerted where they are on that journey towards that goal. And a couple other calculators that are also available. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. We have a early payoff calculator, a debt consolidation calculator, and a home equity calculator. I'm not going to show those for the sake of time here. I want to go and show you briefly the education content. Deep library of education videos covering the entire home buying and financing process. Links out to other resources for home buying, home equity, auto loans, insurance. We also have the ability with our enterprise clients to connect to content that our client is creating and producing, and that could be presented to the users of that enterprise client in their version of the locker. Let's see here. Let me go back to our property. So for the user that owns a home, as I said earlier, they can track the value of that property against an AVM. It updates once per month. The mortgage that the consumer has can be linked in the app, and then that's what's generating the estimated equity. Recently sold properties. These widgets that I'm showing you here, this home maintenance specifically, we also have the ability to customize some widgets through a statement of work, kind of an addendum to our contract. But some of our clients have asked us to build out a place in the experience for other products and services that they have their clients have access to. So in this case, our client that this locker belongs to has a relationship with HomeBinder. So we created a piece of real estate or a widget in the app for the user that already has a HomeBinder account to either log in and see their account or create a new account. And then I talked about real estate search. So the user from the locker, the consumer can engage with real estate search. I'm going to pick Novi, which is where I'm at, and see properties that are available in my market. Can favorite those properties. You can drill in, see all the detail, obviously, on those properties. You'll notice the loan officer, or actually the agent, is Ethan View, familiar name. Our property search and valuation is powered by an integration we have with Home Scout. And so our clients who are also Home Scout clients, we're able to offer a co-branded search experience for the loan officer and their agents. So super excited about that. Again, the value of consumers having an embedded search in this app keeps them kind of off the other platforms, other apps where, as we know, they're oftentimes marketed to, sold as a lead, et cetera. I think I've covered everything and more that I planned on covering. Let me take a peek over at the comments and see if there's anything that I need to cover. I don't see any urgent messages coming in from my team. Hopefully this has been helpful for everybody. I'm going to flash back up this screen just so you can kind of see again. If you want to download the app yourself and play with it, link to your property, link to your credit, and kind of see all the tools as a consumer would see them, you can scan the QR code here on the right, and that will take you right to the web where you could set up your account. And then once your account's set up, then you could download the FinLocker app and sign in with those credentials that you create. Otherwise, if you just download FinLocker, one word, from either the App Store, the Apple App Store, or Google Play, and use the registration code linked in, you can set up your own account directly from the App Store. For those that are interested in a kind of a deeper dive, including kind of what does implementation look like, contracting and pricing and all that great stuff, you can scan the QR code here on the left, and that'll take you to our website where you can complete a short form, and then we get you on our calendar for kind of an individual demo. With that, I am going to wrap it up. I appreciate everybody joining us today. I believe this will also be available once we're wrapped up. We'll push it back out to this LinkedIn group. If anybody wants a copy of the demo or the presentation, just reach out to me directly, brian.view@finlocker.com, and we'll send you the deck. But I appreciate everybody today, and we look forward to seeing you on our next update, probably towards the end of the year. Thank you.